Good morning, welcome back to Eau Brink Studio. If you've not visited us before, my name is Anita O'Neill and we are based in West Norfolk on the border of Norfolk and Cambridgeshire and Lincolnshire, so just outside King's Lynn really. Today I'm going to show you how to use up some more of your scraps to make this sort of thing. Okay, we're going to use some aquafilm and we're just going to use some scraps of some woolly bits that I've got. So the first thing that we're going to tell you to do is to set your machine up for free motion embroidery, and if you have a very old machine, just set it to darning. I like to use this. This is a spring-loaded embroidery foot for free motion embroidery. You don't have to use a spring-loaded one, it's just that I think it makes it easier. Needle wise, I always use these. So top stitch needles I use for just about everything that I do, because they have a big eye, they're very sharp, and everything flows through them quite nicely. You will get the odd thing if it's a rayon that doesn't. You could try a Microtex needle, they're much more expensive but they do the job. The other thing that you might want to try is one of these embroidery needles. I don't tend to use them. If I'm going to use a metallic one, because again it's got the big eye, so I find that things run properly. Normally I don't put the threads onto the machine, but if I just turn that a bit, so if you see this thread stands up, some of them they have to lay down like this. If I had a machine where it had to lay down, I would put them on a cone holder behind the machine, because it runs better if it's this way up, I find, with my machines. You may find that works differently for you or on your machines. The other thing that I like to use to do this is a hoop. I don't always use a hoop, but when I'm teaching I do. I particularly like these are the new modern versions, because they're square. They get right up on the bed of your machine, which is lovely. This one's called a number 2, so this way across it's 165 millimeters, and that way it's 145 millimeters. So that actually doesn't look right on there, but that's what it says anyway. So it works exactly the same, but you don't have to bind these. You can just pop your work into it, which I will show you in a minute. The other thing that we need is aquafilm. I like aquafilm. It's probably because that's what I was taught many years ago to use. So 2 pieces to fit in your hoop. You can use any type of soluble film or any type of soluble fabric. It all depends what you like using. The other thing that I'm going to use is a bag of scraps. Now these bags you can buy at any of the big shows, so the creative craft shows are where I get mine, and there's a lovely lady that sells all these bits that you have in them like this, which is lovely. You get all different sorts, so some of these, this is a much thicker one, which is quite nice, and you get lots of scabby bits in there as well. And you get some thinner bits. You also get some quite big bits in these, so you might end up with some really nice squares like this. And if there is one in here, because we're near the end of this bag, so I'm not really sure what I've got left in here. You get some longer bits like this. You might get some big squares or big triangles, because it's all offcuts, it's all bits you know, that you get from where they're doing their work. It is wool. You do have to be careful because the dust comes up on it, as I found out yesterday when I was working it, and I squashed the bag down and it all puffed up into my face, so that wasn't a very good thing to do. Okay, they are wool, so really lovely pieces to work with. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So I will so the first thing that you need to do is lay down this bit here that's got this straight down onto there, and then we pop a piece of our soluble down. Don't worry about it being bigger, because we will use the offcuts of this. Never ever throw your offcuts away, because they can be used for many different things. And then we start filling the center with the things that we're going to be using. So keep any threads that you've got kicking about. Cut these bits down if you want to. Get some different colours in there. I've got some nice reds here as well. It doesn't have to be neat, it doesn't have to be tidy, because we're just going to stitch all over it. We want to fill this space. Try not to have too much of one colour together if you can help it. So we've got these bits of threads here that we can separate apart. I think these come from a mill. I really must ask the lady the next time I see her, which could possibly be at the end of August. We'll see. And then some other bits here which we can fill in. Don't worry about the whole thing being completely full, because some gaps are good, and we will put some holes in of our own anyway. Bit green. I just love these colours, and I do love working with this. And you might be thinking, well, once you've stitched all that, what the hell am I supposed to do with it? Well, you can, look at that blue, lovely that is, depending on which side you're using. So what you can do is make book covers, you can make pieces of art with it, you can do all sorts of with it really. Okay, so that I think is enough in there. Push that out the way, and then you put your second piece over the top. Make sure that all of your pieces are in the centre, and then push that over, press the air out of it, and then pull the pieces so it's in there nice and tight. Put that bit of cotton over there, so that can go back into the bag. Okay, once you've tightened it up, just like a traditional one, just do the screw up. You can get these online, and there is a company that goes to all the shows that you can get them from as well. Okay, so now we're going to be stitching in here with our free motion embroidery. So we've now got it under the machine. If you have an older machine, then you need to pull both the threads up to the front and hold them out of the way when you first get started. And with this machine, we shouldn't have to do that, but I did pull some out to show you. When you've got your hands near the needle, make sure your foot is off the pedal. So two pieces, and we're going to hold them over here. Just a quick word about seating. Make sure that you're looking over your machine, but you're comfortable, your back is supported. I always recommend using an old office chair. Somebody else I know that uses a gaming chair, because that's even more perfect. You don't want to be all hunched up, you want to be relaxed. Relax your shoulders, relax your back, let the machine do the work, you just need to guide. So here we start. I'm going to be sewing in circles. Just pop that underneath there. And then once you've gone over a circle and gone over it again, just snip that off and put it in your bag of scraps. Okay, so go over your circles twice, your squares, triangles, or however it is you're stitching, because once this is dissolved where you've got gaps, the stitching will come undone. So I'm just going to run around this. The circles don't have to be even, they don't have to be perfect, because you are going to do other things to it. And just another thing about running the machine, so many people will tell you that you should run your machine fast and move your hands slow. I don't do that. I run the machine at the speed that I feel comfortable with, depending on what I'm working with. So you need to find a speed that suits you, and also that the machine's not struggling to do what it needs to do. You do get to the end here, so the edge is in the way. Make sure your needle's down and turn it round to the area that you want to sew in. Just turning it to get over to this edge. Now where I've got a lot of fabric underneath here, I'm not doing a full circle, I'm just doing a swirl. So you can change your design as you go. So bobbin changed, and now I've finished stitching it. I could do a lot more stitching on it, but at this moment I don't want to, because we are going to now cut little windows into that and stitch on them using a normal stitch if you want to, or you can use free motion, it's up to you. So using a sharp pair of scissors, just choose the area that you want to add a window or whatever. So I think I might come in here. I am literally just cutting up it to make a hole. Your holes can be any shape you want them to be, it doesn't really matter. That's a nice leaf shape really that I've taken out of there. Okay, there we go. So now that we've cut our shapes, and you can cut many more, it's up to you how many you want to do, what we're going to do is put them back under the machine. So I'm going to add a yellow bobbin into this, if I can just see it the right way around, because I'm hoping that it will show through from the other side. So pop that back under there. Put the foot back on. I take the foot off so it's easier to get under there without me trapping my fingers. Just adjust that slightly so you can see it a bit better, I hope. And you can use any of your normal machine patterns that you've already got on your machine to do this, or you can do this way. So this is using the free motion. And I am just stitching over the hole. And as I'd hoped, the yellow is showing through. It's a sort of darning, but it isn't quite darning really. Okay. And on this one I'm going to go backwards and forwards. And the same with this one. And then I'm going to come down the centre of this one. Just stitching over those lines that I'd already stitched. Okay, so just pop you back there a bit. And you can now see where I've stitched my holes. You see them? It's quite a nice effect. So we're now at the sink where we're going to just pop this out. So unscrew it and pop, just push it and it pops out when you've unscrewed it enough, that is. There we go. Okay. And then this is what we have that we're going to be dissolving. And I'm just going to get a pair of scissors. As I mentioned before, we don't want to waste any of this, so just trim it. As close to the edge as you want to go. Don't cut through any of your stitching though. And all that we can use elsewhere. And now, if you haven't got one of these shower taps, you just plunge it into some water. I like the water to be a little bit warm because I don't want to have cold hands. I haven't got this on full, I've just got it on just so it's a nice gentle shower and it's warming up a bit. And run it under. It very quickly dissolves. If you're using a thicker film or a thicker fabric, it will take a little bit longer than this. And if you wanted to shape this into a bowl shape, you would want to leave just some of the glue on there. It all depends on what you want to do with it. I want to get all of it out. You see these bits here where I've stitched the film and they're not coming undone. It's getting a bit too warm now, I don't want it to felt my wool. That would be a disaster. Now I'm just going to lay it on an old towel and press to dry it. All I want is to take all of the excess water out of it, and just by pressing it like this you can get your piece to almost be dry. Again, that will depend on what fabrics you're using or threads. If it's just threads, it will dry very, very quickly. And if the weather's nice, of course, you can hang them out. And here we have it. Here is our piece. And now you're all going to say to me, and what are you going to do with that, Anita? So just so that you have an idea of how it looks on different backgrounds, this is a piece I'm currently working on, and as you can see, if it's on there, it looks completely different from on a black background, but we can change that. So Here it is on an orange background. And on a pink background. On a yellow background. And on a green background. And as you can see, it completely changes it. It all depends, of course, what you want to use it for. And if you decide you don't like that side, you could always flip it over and use the other side. So you have lots and lots of options. So that's a little video really just showing you how to use up your Acrofilm and your scraps and how you can use it on different things. How you decide to then move it on is up to you. You can do several small pieces, or you could do a large piece and put it under the machine a bit at a time. And sort of bring the whole thing together, which is quite a nice thing to do. With the bits that we cut off, as I said, if you're going to create holes in things and you're not feeling confident about stitching over a hole, because you can just stitch over a hole if you're careful, just put a snippet of the film or the fabric, whichever you used, over the top of that hole and then just stitch over it. You can do that for patching things as well. So, you know, these new ripped jeans that everybody's now bored with, I believe, you can just put a piece on that, stitch over it and then dissolve it, and then you've like patched your jeans or whatever it is that you wanted to patch with your own unique design, really. The other thing is, I'll just grab this. I'm not sure how much of the detail that you could see, so I'll just bring that in a little bit. You can see there are holes because I didn't want a full piece. You can see the holes that I've stitched over, which gives it a whole new dimension, and also it's quite puffy where the fabric is as well, so you can build that and build that and build up, which is everything that you can do. So thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing any of your makes. You can bring them along to the West Norfolk Textile Fair and show me what you've done, which would be really exciting. So thank you so much for watching, and if you want to know any more information, just pop over to my website and sign up to the newsletter, and you will get all this in the newsletter. Thank you. Bye.